One.
And you guys see Curly?
They slowed their heads toward the door. Looking in was Curly's wife. Her face was heavily made up. Her lips were slightly parted. She breathed strongly, as though she had been running.
Curly ain't been here.
Candy said sourly. She still stood in the doorway, smiling a little at them, rubbing the nails of one hand with the thumb and forefinger of the other. And her eyes traveled from one face to another.
They left all the weak ones here.
She said finally.
Think I don't know where they all went? Even Curly, I know where they all went.
Lenny watched her, fascinated, but Candy and Crooks were scowling down, away from her eyes. Candy said,
Then if you know, why you want to ask us where Curly is at?
she regarded them amusedly.
Funny thing,
She said,
if I catch any one man and he's alone, I get along fine with him. But just let two of the guys get together and we won't talk. Just nothing but mad.
she dropped her fingers and put her hands on her hips.
You're all scared of each other, that's what. Every one of you scared, the rest is going to get something of you.
After a pause, Crooks said,
Maybe you better go along to your own house now. We don't want no trouble.
Well, I ain't giving you no trouble. Think I don't like to talk to somebody every once in a while? Think I like to stick in that house all the time?
Candy laid the stump of his wrist on his knee and rubbed it gently with his hand. He said accusingly,
You got a husband. You ain't got no call fooling around with other guys causing trouble.
The girl flared up.
Sure, I got a husband. You all see him, swell guy, ain't he? Spends all his time saying what he's gonna do to guys he don't like, and he don't like nobody. Think I'm gonna stand in that 2x4 house and listen how Curly's gonna leave with one left twig, and then bring in the old right cross. 1-2, he says, just the old 1-2, and he'll go down.
She paused, and her face lost its soreness and grew interested.
Say, what happened to Curly's hands?
There was an embarrassed silence. Candy stole a look at Lenny, then he coughed.
Why, Curly, he got his hand caught in a machine, ma'am. Bust his hand.
She watched for a moment, and then she laughed.
Baloney. What you think you're selling me? Curly stopped softening, he didn't finish. Caught in a machine, baloney. Why, he ain't got nobody to go to 1-2 since he got his hand bust. Who bust him?
Candy repeated sullenly.
Got it caught in a machine.
All right.
She said contemplatively.
All right, cover up if you want to. What do I care? You bindle bums think you're so damn good. What do you think I am? A kid? I tell you, I could have went with the shows. Not just one neither. Any old guy told me he could put me in pictures.
She was breathless with indignation.
Saturday night, everybody out doing something. Everybody. And what am I doing? Standing here talking to a bunch of...
A nigger?
I feel sheep and legged because nobody else.
Lenny watched her, his mouth half open. Crooks had retired into the terrible projected dignity of the Negro, but a change came over old Candy. He stood up suddenly and knocked his nail keg over backward.
I had enough.
He said angrily.
You ain't wanted here. We told you again, ain't I tell you, you got floozy ideas about what us guys amount to. You ain't got sense enough in the chicken head to even see that we ain't stiffs. Suppose you get us canned. Suppose you do. You think we'll hit the highway and look for another lousy two-bit job like this? You don't know that we got our own ranch to go to and our own house. We ain't got to stay here. We got a house and chickens and fruit trees and a place 100 times prettier than this. And we got friends that's what we got. Maybe there was a time when we were scared of getting canned, but we ain't no more. We got our own land and it's ours, and we can come and go to it.
Curly's wife laughed at her.
Baloney.
She said,
I've seen too many guys. If you had 2 bits in the world, why you'd be getting 2 shots of corn with it and sucking the bottom of the glass. I know you guys.
Candy's face had grown redder and redder, but before she was done speaking, he had control of himself. He was the master of the situation.
I'm out of new.
He said gently.
Maybe you just better go along and roll your hoof. We ain't got nothing to say to you at all. We know what you got, and we don't care whether you know it or not. So maybe you better just scatter along now. Cause Curly maybe ain't gonna like his wife out in a barn with us bundled stiff.
She looked from one face to another, and they were all close against her. And she looked longest at Lenny until he dropped his eyes in embarrassment. Suddenly, she said,
Where'd you get them bruises on your face?
Lenny looked up guiltily.
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
Curly's wife laughed.
Lenny looked to Candy for help and then looked at his lap again.
Lenny looked to Candy for help, and then he looked at his lap again.
He got his hand caught in a machine.
He said. Curly's wife laughed.
Okay, machine. I'll talk to you later. I like machines.
Candy broke in.
You let this guy alone. Don't you do no messing around with him. I'm gonna tell George what you said. George won't have you messing with Lenny.
Who's George?
She asked.
The little guy?